Live from Studio B, welcome to Rotor Talk Live, your weekly home for the latest consumer drone news, rumors, reviews, and tips. Since 2017, we've helped drone fans stay on top of what's rumored, what's flying, new specs, features, updates, and expert analysis. Hosted by Bill the Drone Reviewer and co-hosted by Ron Brown from Drone Nation, we keep you up to date on everything in the consumer drone space.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Rotor Talk Live, Season 9, Episode 29, DJI Avata 360 3-month hands-on review. Hope everyone is doing well this evening. Let's see who we got here. We got a full house already. USA Drone Flyer, Joe, RJ Redding, Carlos Moran, welcome. Art, welcome. See who else. Sergeant Rock, welcome. Dr. Ted, welcome. Michael Wright, welcome. Let's see who else. Steve Porter, welcome, Steve. And okay, all right. You know, one of the things we've been running into down here in Tampa. Okay, have a little bit of a brief respite from the weather with some rain and cools things down, but it'll just be for a day, and it gets right back up into the mid 90s. I mean, I don't think our daytime temperature has gone below like 93 or 92 degrees since probably the end of May, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's what my understanding is. And our drought, although we've gotten some rain recently, which has really helped, it's still pretty dry around here. I mean, it's like the chances of wildfires down here are really good. So yeah, so we still do need some rain. I'm not poo-pooing, what we have, but we need to get more. We really do. And when you get some rain, it really does, in some consistent rain, it helps to drive the temperatures down, which is something we really need around here. So, yeah. So that's where we're at with that. Okay. All right. Ron's going to join me here in a little bit, and we're going to take a real good look. There was a great article somebody did. It was a review of the Avata 360, and it's right around the 3-month kind of a time frame right now. And I thought, what a better thing to do than to take a step back, because Ron has his, I have mine, and we can just, look at the review and kind of add our own, analysis and our own user experiences that we've had with the Avata 360. I think it's going to be a good segment, so we're really looking forward to doing that. Now, the first thing I wanted to do was, I'm calling this, believe it or not, okay, I'm going to call this a day in the life of Bill the Drone Reviewer. Actually, it's probably more like 3 days in the life of Bill the Drone Reviewer, to see how absolutely insane my past 3 days were. And trust me when I say that, they were off the chart, totally 100% insane, okay? Now, the first thing that we're going to take a look at here, I did an infographic for this, a couple days in the life of Bill the Drone Reviewer, day one, Sunday. We had a lightning strike and internet outage. And when I say lightning strike, it hit in our yard. Okay, many of you probably seen our side yard. It's pretty big. It's big enough to probably fit another set of houses there. That's how big our side yard is. 3 o'clock Sunday afternoon, Valerie's resting, I'm resting. Boom! I mean, it sounds like the loudest fireworks you'd ever want to hear in your life. It hit the yard. I have absolutely no qualms or quarrels about that. Okay, so whatever kind of a nap I was taking, it got me out of my nap, and our power went out briefly. We have a generator, but the generator didn't even kick in before everything was back into where it needed to be. So we thought, all right. So I'm getting on the computer, and I'm wanting to check to see some things, and then no internet. Okay, I'm like, okay. So I go over and I check, and the modem's not flashing, which I know it needs to be reset. But what was real concerning was that the router had no lights on it at all. It was an Asus router. No lights on it at all. What I did was I got a backup router that I had through our internet service provider, hooked it up, reset the modem, did all the troubleshooting. Nothing. So I put in a call to our internet service provider. They're going to come out Monday between 1 and 2. Fine, well enough, all right? But what was nice was, and what saved the day, and you can see under day one, I have a Netgear hotspot, and it's through I purchased T-Mobile. It actually has a T-Mobile SIM card in it, and it worked like a champ. Not only did it provided internet for my home computer, it provided internet for my work computer, it provided internet for Valerie's computer. Also, both of our smart TVs run off of internet, and our printer, because it's a wireless printer, runs off of internet. Now, just to give you kind of a heads up on that, it is a real pain in the butt to use it. You have this little screen about that big. Okay, I'm trying to picture how big it is. All right, you have a little screen about this big, and these letters. Imagine a little miniature keyboard on there to type your letters out for your home Wi-Fi password. Well, I had to type in the password for my Netgear hotspot to get everything up and running. But it ran fine. Everything was fine. Okay. One of the next things that I found out on day 2 here, all right, Ring camera system Achilles heel. Now, I thought getting a Ring camera system was an absolute total no-brainer, especially here in Florida. They have a solar-powered setup. Got it from Best Buy. Been working like a champ. We have an indoor one. It obviously doesn't need any solar power, but it worked like a champ too. It has almost like a 360 coverage on it. It's fantastic, all right? Well, it's fantastic until, and I found this out, until you're without the internet for 30 minutes or more, then they need reset. Oh, okay, so I can just go in the app and reset them. No, you have to climb up on a ladder, as shown in the picture there, and push the reset button underneath it to reset them, all right? And I'm like, okay. And I called Ring Service up, and I'm like, what? I proposed a couple things. Number one, what if these are like 30 or 40 feet up in the air, all right? You got to get a ladder out and do this, okay? It's not readily available, number one. Number two, what if you're away from home for a couple of weeks and wanted to check on your property, and you find out it's offline and down, and there's nothing you can do about this? I said, that's an epic failure. You should be able to, and I told her, I said, you need to pass this up to your higher-ups. You should be able to reset that from your app or from a website, okay? Not being able to do that, having to physically do that on that defeats the purpose of this. And I told her that. And I said, plus, people get older. I said, I'm in my late 60s. My wife's in the same age range. And, we don't do ladders anymore, okay? Any type of real serious ladder, like I'll do a step stool, but not ladders. Ladders, I'll hire our handyman to come out and do that. So we have that to face, all right? So, and then day 3 on Monday, internet service provider came out, and he found the problem, was able to correct it, and he said that the old modem that we had from the internet service provider, that's no good. Throw that out as well. Provided us a new one, and worked like a champ. And one of the great things that he did was he renamed the network to the previous network that we had, and obviously I kept the same password. So it was an super easy transition, which was great. It made it absolutely fantastic. And then number 4, okay? Now, yesterday when I was closing the garage door on Monday, it was closing really hard. And I mean, normally they have that soft close, boom, 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 and it shouldn't do that. And I'm thinking, oh, maybe the spring might be gone, okay? So I called up the company that originally installed the garage doors at our houses, who a lot of people do recommend in our development, by the way. I said, can you come out? They said, yeah, we can come out. Be out there Tuesday morning, okay? The tech comes out. I demonstrated for him. He says, I know exactly what it is. I said, what's that? He said, your circuit board got fried. And I'm like, really? He says, yeah. He said, what happened was, during an electrical storm, you had a surge, and it fried that board. And that board, it controls the soft open and close of the door. I said, so how much to replace that? And he gave me a quote, and I said, okay, I'm going to ask you another question. How much if I get a whole new opener? And he told me that, and it was like maybe a $50 difference. I said, put a new opener in. And what it was, the genius of him putting a new opener in, all right, this was great, because we had the same type of garage door system before, LiftMaster, and they use a MyQ app. Here's Ron.
Hello, Bill. Sorry.
Hey, Ron.
I didn't think I had the link to the show. The link did not show up on my computer, but it did on my phone. So I copied and pasted it into my phone or on a web browser. So I'm having my own little tech phone pop. But I do want to wish you a happy belated birthday, Bill.
Oh, thank you very much, Ron. Really appreciate that. Thank you. Absolutely, thank you. I'm going through my tech travails of the past 3 or 4 days here, okay? and we had a lightning strike on Sunday.
Oh.
And that took out my router that I had for years. And the backup router I had didn't use. So I had to call the internet service provider. And they came yesterday to replace it, which they did. Renamed the network for me so I could use the same password, which was great. And then I noticed yesterday when I was closing the garage door, had a hard close. And you know what I mean by a hard? It boom when it was closing. And then it was a hard open up. Clunk when it would open up. And the guy came out, they came out today, and he said, I know exactly what it is. I said, what's that? He said, your motherboard is fried. And I'm like, the motherboard controls the soft open and close of the garage door. I said, okay, how much to replace that? And I said, he gave me a quote, and I said, all right, how much more if I get a new opener? And it was like about a $50 to $65 difference. So we had a new opener put in, all right? Now, the beautiful thing about this...
also, Bill?
What's that?
You think the lightning fried that motherboard as well as the router?
Yeah, and what he told me to do was, and a lot of people don't do that, is to get a single surge protector and mount it in your ceiling and then plug your garage door into it. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So I ordered one of those today. It came from Amazon today. But the nice thing about this, it's a LiftMaster, and it has an app called the MyQ app with this. And the MyQ app lets you control that from anywhere. But the problem was it didn't work with my previous router, the Asus router. So a daisy chain of events replacing the Asus router with the one from the internet service provider enabled us to be able to use the MyQ app. And then the other bonus on this was, I ended up finding out on this, was it has a built-in camera, webcam on it. So, and it faces forward on there, all right, which was great. Now, one of the parts that I went over right before you joined was we have 2 Ring cameras outside, all right? Well, I found out from Ring, if you lose internet connect, because they're Wi-Fi, because if you lose internet for 30 or more minutes, they need to be reset. And I go, oh, okay. So I reset the one indoors, which is real easy because it's right up on the on one of our pieces of furniture. I pressed the button and boom, it was reset. However, in order to reset the ones outside, you have to do the same thing. So in other words, you got to get up on a ladder to reset those. And I told her, I said, all right, here's a scenario. What if I'm out of town for 2 weeks and I want to take a look and check on my property and I can't because it needs reset? I can't do it from an app. Somebody has to physically do it. She said, yeah. And I said, well, I don't do ladders anymore. All right. Valerie and I, anything more than a step stool, we really don't want to go there anymore because, getting older and everything. And I told her, I said, that's a failure in your design. That's a design flaw because the app should be built in. I should be able anywhere to be able to reset something like that. I mean, my internet service provider can reset the internet from where they are. Why can't you reset these devices? And she didn't have an answer. I said,
you're exactly right. When you really want to view those cameras is when you're not home.
Exactly. So we found them. We'll get it handled. We'll get it handled in the next few days. But I mean, I had this cavalcade of things just happen to me over the last 3 days. I'm like, boom, 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 and I'm like, all right. Ugh. So yeah, that's been my last couple of days here.
Well,
so
we can always go back to the '80s when you didn't have all this technology.
That's true. That's absolutely true. So, and we wouldn't be sitting here if that was true. So
we'd be watching TV.
We'd be absolutely. We'd be watching TV on Tuesday night, whatever the show of the week was, as far as that's concerned. So
we'd watch. I don't know I don't know Tuesday's live. The Cosby Show and all of them are on Thursday night.
Right. I'm trying to. Oh my gosh! It lost the article here. All right. Let me go ahead and. All right. I got another article. What I'm going to do. Okay. This past weekend, I decided I hadn't done updates on. Besides the Avata 360, I hadn't done updates on like all my other drones. So I said, you know what? I'm going to do it. And what I'm going to do to try kind of as an experiment, so to speak, is use DJI Assistant 2 for consumer drones. All right. And I got an infographic I want to put up here. All right. Let's get that. All right. There we go. All right. List up top what drones are covered and list all the drones that are covered under DJI Assistant 2. All right, for that. Download and install, connect your drone, launch and detect, check for updates, download, install, update complete. All right. Ron, it literally, if I were to have put a clock to this and to do this compared against to the Wi-Fi, it would have beat the Wi-Fi hands down, no questions asked. All right, it was smooth, and I'd probably say within maybe about 25, 30 minutes, all my drones, and I went to my Mavic 3, my Mavic 4, Mini 5 Pro, Air 3, Air 3S, the Neo 2, all of them, probably 20, 25 minutes at the most. Okay, got all of them done, which was fantastic, and it was smooth, and it was seamless, and it was right there. Okay, and the nice thing about that is you see you can see the update, the firmware update that you're downloading. It's right there. It's right in front of you. There's no questions asked. This is what it is. I mean, and you're good to go, which I think is fantastic. I absolutely love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead now.
I usually don't have the patience to update more than one drone at a time.
Yeah, well, see, it had been a while for me, and part of the reason was, it's just been literally just I've been working 60-hour work weeks. All right. On top of that, my left ankle's been really wonky, and I think I've had a little bit of just edema in my legs, and just working through that, and it's much better because I decided to go ahead and prop my feet up more and get some rest and drink more fluids, and it's made a world of difference as far as that's concerned. So I kind of got to pace.
Back to the updates. When you're using, the piece of software you're talking about, say it again.
What's that?
Name the updater you were using.
Oh, the DJI Assistant 2 for consumer drones.
DJI Assistant 2. Now, these updates anymore aren't just drone. When you go to do an update, sometimes it do the drone, the controller, and the Fly app. Okay, now
right.
The DJI Assistant, does it get all that for you?
Right. Well, what it does is it lists the updates that are available out there. All right. And it does it by the device. Now it will if it's the RC Pro 2, it'll have RC Pro 2 up there. If it's the what's the other controller?
RC Pro 2, DJI RCN3.
The N3, and also the other one with the screen. I forgot R2 something or other.
The RC2. The
right.
RC2, the Pro controller.
Right, and it'll list the controller separate from the drone itself. Okay. And
so
the other thing is
controller up then.
And the other thing is when you do these updates, it's easy because you go up to the one at the top. All right, that's the one you want to download because it includes the one from before. All right, that's always a rule of thumb with DJI, which is really nice. So it's a cumulative update in terms of what it does, and it works seamlessly. I mean, I was just impressed with the speed of it. It was just, and I had a real good internet connection when ironically I did this Saturday before we had our big thunderstorm and lightning and all that stuff on Sunday. So I'm glad my timing was fortuitous to do it at the right time like that. So that worked out real well. One of the things that I found today going out there and looking for things for tonight was there are a couple of things that are on sale right now that I really wanted to call your attention to. And the first is, and I went out and I physically checked it out on Amazon here. Okay. The DJI Mic 3 kit falls to $219 in its best sale yet. And I verified that is the correct price out on Amazon right now. And it is available out there. And that's a really good price on that, Ron.
If you just bought one mic, it would be like $85.
Right.
One just standalone. If you used to order just the mic, it would be $85. So this is
right, just the microphone itself.
Yeah. Yeah, Bill, what he's talking about has been happening for a couple of weeks ago. It's like a delay. You hear sort of a delay or whatever.
Well, I'm going to try something here. All right, automatically. I'm going to shut off. There's a item on StreamYard. I adjusted that here a little bit to see if that might help a little bit. So Let me know if that, guys, let me know if that helps. I shut something off. It was an automatic adjustment of sound level. A lot of times their software doesn't work real well as far as that's concerned.
And it's nothing on my end because I'm doing the same exact setup as I do on Monday nights for my show, and I don't have an echo.
Yeah, I'm not hearing an echo from Ron either, or myself. So just to let you guys know, it could be StreamYard. Just I'm not really sure about that. I know I test out my microphone. What I've done, I've gotten into the habit. I didn't do it tonight, but the past 2 weeks I've tested it ahead of the show and played a recording back on myself through StreamYard, and it sounded fine. So just to let you know that I've been doing that.
Hey, Bill, back to the mic or whatever. I believe the new Insta360 mic comes out. I don't know the name of their mic, but they have a very competitive mic kit to the Mic 3. And I believe that is over $100 higher than its $219 price.
Okay.
So this is a very good deal compared to its closest rival, whatever the new Insta360 mic system is called, which also has a lot of 32-bit flow and recording right to mic. A lot of the features that the Mic 3 has, that also has.
And it has some of you compare this to the Mic 2 system, and there are some advancements as far as that's concerned. I mean, it's completely up to you. My Mic 2 system's been absolutely fine, but I mean, this may be something that you might want to keep in the back of your mind, especially because of the price. The price is so good right now. That would be something that if you haven't dived into the world of DJI mics, this is something I would wholeheartedly recommend, especially if you're doing any type of filming and need to get good quality audio with it. I mean,
Bill, let me give you the bottom line here. What you pick up here, if you buy this kit, you get a much smaller mic system than what you get with a Mic 2. But the downside is, for professionals, this does not have a lavalier port, so you cannot connect the lavalier microphone into this. That's the downside. The upside is it's much smaller and lighter than the Mic 2.
Absolutely. Well, one thing I found with the Mic 2 is depending upon where I put it, and more often than not, if I'm wearing a t-shirt, I'll kind of put it like right here. And if I'm wearing like a regular shirt with a collar, I'll kind of put it up on the collar as far as that's concerned, or even up here on the shoulder, and it works. And I'm not, I don't have any problem picking up that sound. It works really well as far as that's concerned.
Bill, a lot of people don't like the saggy t-shirt. You put your t-shirt and the t-shirt sags down. But here, I'll give you a solution for all that, Bill. You can go buy a decent lavalier mic on Amazon for $20. And for $20, you can put that mic down your belt or whatever, and just have the lavalier coming up underneath your shirt. And
I actually got on sale DJI's lavalier mic for about $20.
Which is the one that usually goes for about $40.
It was on. I got it on sale for about $20, which was great. So
that solves all the problems. You don't need the Mic 3 then. Just hook that lavalier mic in.
Nope, that lavalier mic, it does a great job as far as that's concerned. That is absolutely fantastic.
But that is a deal of the day, that $219, along with the Mini 5 Pro for $683.
And that's exactly what I'm going to be bringing up right now. This Mini 5 Pro deal, it is just too good to be true. Mini 5 Pro $683, down from $759. Mini 5 Pro Fly More combo with RC N3 is at $863, and Mini 5 Pro Fly More combo with RC2 is at $989, down from $1,099. I mean, Ron, this is under $1,000 now. All right, it was just you would be, if you don't have it, go out there and get it. Okay.
Or if you do have it, you want to spare, just get a second one.
Exactly. FJ 1100 Mark, I have it set to not omnidirectional, but I have it set. Well, I have it set to pick it up in front of me, and it's right here. It's right in front of me. It's right where I'm talking. So it should pick up directly from here. And again, like I said, I've done a couple of tests with this using the StreamYard application and running it back and listening to the recording, and the audio sounds fine on my end. All right. And one of the things that I've done is I've listened to Rotor Talk the past couple of weeks, and it's come back. The audio's come back pretty good. So my only thinking is it's probably something with StreamYard as far as that's concerned, because what I'm hearing and listening to, not only when I do my test, but when I watch the finished product afterwards, it sounds good. So just to let you know that. And I have it set right. I have it set right for, I have a Blue Yeti microphone here, and I have the settings right. It's not, I think it's on Cardioid, whatever that is, which really is supposed to design to pick up from in front, not from all around. So that's why, that's where I'm at as far as that's concerned, just to let you know. Okay.
Bill, I'm going to go back to this drone, the Mini 5 Pro.
Right.
For all the people out there that are sad because they can't get the Litho drones, Litho X1 in particular, they can't get the Sky Rover. Well, they may not be able to get the Sky Rover drone soon. They can't get the Atom 3. This may be a little bit more than those, but just throw your money together and get this, and don't worry about all those other drones you cannot get. This is still the best mini drone, pound for pound, on the market, Bill.
Ron, that is so well put. Because I have a Lido group that I created, and I get 80 to 90 requests to join that group every day, which I do, and I'm still putting articles and things out there regarding the Lido. But your point is so well taken, because so many people were really, I don't know if use the term, bent out of shape about not being able to get it. It's a step down, guys. It's not a step up, okay, in terms of its capabilities and its features. And you're getting less of a feature set with that. Go out and spend that money if you're really wanting to get another drone again. If you have a Mini 5 Pro, get a second one if you want to do that at these kind of prices. I mean, it makes it so affordable, especially if you have an have an N3 controller or the RC2 controller already.
It works in the Pro. This works in the Pro controller too.
Yeah. So get the Mini 5 Pro for what? $683.
But when the Mini 5 Pro was $1299, maybe that would break the piggy bank for somebody looking for a budget drone. But now that we're below $700, the piggy bank's not breaking as quick, Bill.
Exactly, and more chances are really good. You either have an N3, an RC2, or an RC Pro 2 to be able to control it. So all you really need is a drone and a battery. And you can go out there and get batteries ad nauseum. That's not a problem. Okay?
Bill, even if you're absolute beginner, what was the absolute beginner has no gear, $683, and you have a Flymore combo.
Yeah. It's really kind of ridiculous as far as that's concerned. Okay, Mark, if you want to send me an email on that's fine. But I'm telling you what I hear on my end, just to let you know. If you want to continue the discussion, please do so. No, as far as this is concerned, this is really a no-brainer, Ron, to get in there and to pick that up for that kind of a price. When you compare it to some of the other deals that are going on right now, you would be crazy not to pick one up for $683. You really would.
Bill, do you think? You think Amazon's discounting because of a Mini 6? But I'll answer my own question. Well, Amazon will never get the Mini 6 yet, so why would they discount because the next drone's coming? They won't have it anyways.
Right. Absolutely.
So I don't know what spurred his discount, but don't worry with spurred discount. Just go out and grab it.
Mark, I'm just, to be polite and kind, I'm just going to tell you, I have it set to pick up only from the front of my microphone, okay? My speakers on my computer are behind, so it's not going to pick up that audio, okay? So the audio is coming from the front. So, and again, if you want to discuss this any further, please email me at billthedronereviewer@gmail.com, okay? And I'm trying to be polite, and we'll just, end it at that as far as that's concerned, okay? So the Mini 5 Pro deal, it's something that I don't think anybody should pass up if they can afford to. At that kind of a price, it's fantastic. It gets you the drone. More often than not, if you already have one, it makes sense, and it makes logic to get another one again to have as a backup if that's been a drone that you've used quite a bit. And I know, Ron, you use yours a lot on your shoots. And it's easy to carry. In fact, what we're probably going to do, I'm cutting up for my high school reunion in October up to Pittsburgh, and I'm going to take the Mini 5 Pro up to record some things like the home where I lived in, the community that I grew up in, and get some footage of that, because I don't have any aerial footage of that up there, and I think that would be great to be able to do something like that.
Right, it's a great travel drone to take along on a quick weekend or whatever.
It sure is. It sure is. Now, I'm going to kind of switch gears here a little bit, and I expected to start to see some things on this, but there was an article out on Drone DJ, which actually or Drone XL, which kind of surprised me as far as that's concerned. DJI Osmo 362 breaks cover with a bigger battery. Okay, yeah. And apparently these are some supposedly some test pictures of test units. You can see there's still tape on it, or maybe a piece of a rubber band. And here's a test report that they have Osmo 362 on here. The images came from Igor, who published the photos of the prototype running next to the current Osmo 360. The new camera reported on July 17th. Field testing a successor against the shipping model is standard practice late in development, and it usually means the hardware design is close to locked, all right? And you can say a 10% bigger battery tells the real story as far as that's concerned. Here's why the battery more than it looks, and it's part of the what most people get wrong about camera generations. When a company changes the processor and adds new capabilities, buyers assume the new chip does new things on the same energy budget. In most cases, it does not. Most computer pulls more power, and a battery that grows alongside the silicon is usually honest tell that the internals are working harder. A 10% bigger cell for the same body is DJI paying the electricity bill or whatever the new processor does. In hardware, this small 200 milliamp hours is never a rounding error. It's a budget spent on purpose, okay? The launch window already slipped once as far as that's concerned. Drone XL's take on this as far as that and this as well. And I wanted to say one thing on this, Ron, because I know a lot of people are gonna probably have questions on this and everything. And and that's all fine and good as far as that's concerned. But remember one thing here, all right? This is more than likely not going to get approved by the FCC. Will not be able to get something like this, unless things change as far as the FCC is concerned. So, it's something that's going to be nice to look at, but as far as being able to use it and get it here in the United States, chances are very doubtful as far as that's concerned.
And you may not even be able to get an extra use version of it if things go the way they are now. Even extra use may not be able to release we'll call it a clone. But Bill, on the plus side here, these are just rumors of specs here. But I've read a couple articles on it. And Bill, it sounds like a very incremental upgrade over what we already have.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, Ron. I don't think it was anything earth-shattering as far as
there's no guarantee that it even has replaceable lenses.
Exactly. Okay, because I know that was the big thing a lot of people were clamoring for after the first one came out. Were having the replaceable lenses, which the lens covers really do make a difference as far as protecting the lenses as far as that's concerned. So that's one of the things that I would say it really the DJI did do right as far as that's concerned, because a lot of people have said that they've really helped protect the lens covers. I got mine came in from Adorama last Thursday. In fact, on my birthday, they actually arrived. So I was real pleased that they were here as well too. So all in all, I'm really looking forward to getting engaged with that. And like I said, and we have been saying for weeks on end, really enjoy what you have or what you're able to purchase right now. And for things that we can't get, I saw some wild rumors out there about a Mini 6 Pro coming out. They were out on Twitter, out on X. And, at this point, with something like that, I just take my hands off and say, you know what, let's go. That's your prerogative. You can go for it. That's what you want to do, all well and good. But at this point, okay, that's not something that we can. We're going to look at the specs. We're going to talk about it. We're going to let everybody know about it, because we're just not the United States. We cover everything worldwide, and we want to be able to keep everybody informed as far as that's concerned. And who knows, what the future is going to hold as far as DJI
right.
drones are concerned.
I'm sure at some point you'll be able to order things from somebody on eBay if you really want to go that route.
Exactly. So, it's up to our recommendation is, if the FCC doesn't approve it, don't get it. I mean, that's just pure and simple. You don't want to be caught in the loop of having to pay fines or having your drone confiscated or other things happen to you because you made a decision to buy a drone that's not been approved for use in the United States by the FCC. That's the bottom line. That's where I'm at, Ron.
And the cameras, I'll maybe have a different thought on those. I don't know if anybody ever had a camera confiscated because it wasn't FCC approved, but you can make your own decision on cameras.
Exactly. So, next thing that we're going to go to here, I think I have one more thing that I wanted to talk about.
Connected Pirate, John, he's driving and listening to the torrential downpours. Hope everyone's doing okay. Bill, in my area, we have tornado warnings right now. It looks to be south of me, but I guess it's on the whole East Coast is having some real weather events moving through here. So, Bill, we're halfway through. If I disappear suddenly, you'll know that I no longer have power.
I hope not. I hope you're good. I hope you're good as far as that's concerned. There's another article I want to talk about before we hit our main topic of the evening here, and it's real interesting because I expected DJI to get into this area sooner than they did. It's kind of surprising that they waited until now to do this, but DJI unveils its most ambitious drone yet. DJI's first ever eVTOL drone debuts where few aircraft can fly. And VTOL means vertical takeoff and landing. You can see it looks a lot like an airplane, but then those rotors swivel, so it rises up like a drone, and then it flies like an airplane as far as that's concerned. And it carries some incredible payload right here. I was reading through the article as far as that's concerned. Up to 50 kilopounds, features a 270-liter cargo compartment, and it has a maximum no-load range of 150 kilometers. Those specifications position it for missions such as emergency response, mountain logistics, island deliveries, and scientific expeditions rather than aerial photography, okay? Its first public assignment was in Mary, and it flew over Mount Everest as far as that was concerned. So, I expected DJI to be down this road a lot sooner as far as that's concerned. But that's a great thing to see them venturing out into that, and I wish them well as far as that's concerned. I just wanted to bring something up, to show people, DJI is just not sitting on their hands, they're things as far as that's concerned. So,
and VTOLs have been around for a while. Remember Autel about 5 years ago when they were at CES? They had that big booth. They had a pretty neat looking VTOL there or whatever. But I know they have niche applications, but really, and I'm not saying they won't be big down the road, but right now, VTOLs is sort of a very niche product, I believe, Bill. Only used in certain
it is, Ron. And, because I can tell you, the drones that Amazon uses, for example, they're kind of sort of like VTOLs, but they're mostly drones. As far as that's concerned, the one that actually have a footage of, and I should probably drop it out there. It's probably like about 30 to 45 seconds worth of footage. What it does is when it does the drop, it comes down to about maybe 20 feet or so, and it comes out of chute. And the drone tilts like this. It releases out of a chute, and the box is way too big for the actual product, or whatever the product is. It's oversized for the box, and it's cushioned at either end, so when it falls and it hits, the grass or the pavement or something, it's not going to do any damage to the contents inside. And then, of course, Amazon's real careful with what they choose to put in these deliveries as far as that's concerned. So, this could be something as far as a future delivery system is concerned. I think that's what they addressed in the article. So, we'll kind of keep an eye on that and see how things are. One of the things that I wanted to do tonight, and I want to spend the rest of the show tonight, is it's been about 3 months since the Avata 360 has come out. And I know both myself and Ron had it for a while and have gotten some time in under the belt. And then there was a great review out on Drone XL, which I published, and we're going to kind of go over that as well too. And I thought it was about time to do something like this, especially because it's been 3 months. A lot of people have had it. It's a very popular and hot topic. I get at least 30 to 40 people join the Avata group that I have every day. So it's something that's a very popular drone. Design and build, 455 grams. The Avata 360 is heavier than the Avata 2 and well above the 250 regulatory threshold. The prop guards fully enclose the rotors like the Avata 2s, and they're solid enough for indoor use in close proximity flying. Okay. The 360 camera mounts at the front and rotates automatically on takeoff and landing, switching between flight mode and a protected position to keep the lenses off the ground. It works well with one catch. Because the gimbal doubles on the front point of contact with the ground, it's easy to forget its orientation and put the drone down with the lens facing the ground. DJI sells a replacement lens separately for good reason. An update to that, I know on the Avata 360 firmware update, the DJI has put in a fix to correct that. Am I correct, Ron?
Yeah, Bill, what happened is about a week or so ago, they came out with a firmware update that added the ability to take a photo in single lens mode, which they did not have that ability before. That was a nice feature add. But with that firmware update, they also broke the feature. Talk about since the drone was released, the camera, until you take the drone off, Bill, the camera is locked that the lenses don't face the bottom or the top. So when you're on a surface, it's almost like two little rubber legs that sit down.
Right.
With that update that brought the photos out, the gimbal no longer locks, so it could land or take off in any position. And like you said, if the lens is facing downward and you don't have a landing pad down, it could get scratched or maybe just smudged or something like that. But with the update that came out a couple of days ago, I just did it over the weekend. Now puts that locking feature back in. So when you pull your drone out of the case or whatever, the gimbal's locked in a position where the camera's not facing down. So we're
exactly
back to where we were before. So
that was smart. That was a good. That was DJI listened, because I know a lot of people had put in inquiries about that, so they went ahead and they did that. So kudos to DJI. Kudos to them for highlighting that. Okay. Let me get back to the article here, and I don't know why I thought I was sharing, but let's get back to that. Okay. All right.
There we go.
Camera quality 360 degrees at 8K. The Avata 360 uses two identical 1/1.1 inch CMOS sensors, 64 megapixels each. DJI describes the effective imaging as a 1-inch equivalent in 360 mode. The sensors are smaller than what you'd find on a dedicated camera drone at this price, and the low light footage reflects that. This is not the drone to buy if low light cinematography is a priority. For social media and good lighting, it's more than adequate. The 8K is spread across the full sphere, so reframe crops are softer than dedicated single lens 4K. Fine for most platforms, noticeable if you're pixel peeping. Dynamic range reaches 13.5 stops. D-Log-M is available for post-color work. In 360 mode, the lens points up and down, each covering roughly 200 degrees, with the two views stitched together in camera. Stitching is clean in most situations. The scene becomes visible when you come to an abrupt stop at speed, but that tends to happen between usable shots. Because the Avata 360 records the full sphere, it captures landscape and vertical content at the same time. One flight gets you a 16.3 cinematic cut and a 9:16 vertical for social. For creators working across multiple formats, that's a genuine time saver. Single lens mode rotates the camera forward for a conventional 4K 60 frames per second look at a 28mm equivalent. Not a wide FPV lens, but clean and usable. Still top out at 120 megapixel in 360 mods. Okay. Now I want to stop there. So I think this is important that we go over this. Okay. The first thing, first and foremost from this, all right, you're not going to get the type of quality of cinematography that you're going to get from a Mini 5 Pro or from an Air 3S with the Avata 360.
And that holds true to any 360 camera. Doesn't matter whether it's on a drone or not.
Exactly. You're not going to get that here, okay? Because if you're looking for that, you bought the wrong drone, all right? What you're looking for is what they described right here as far as getting this content. And the magic happens for this, and we're going to talk about that here, is editing in DJI Studio, all right?
Hey, but,
which
but before you move on too far, I mentioned this up here, and that this also came in that update, not the update that fixed the gimbal, but the one that messed it up. It also now can shoot in 100 frames per second in 360 mode, Bill. And I believe that 100 frames per second isn't some special slow motion mode where you don't record any audio or anything. I believe that 100 frames per second is a real 100 frames per second and not like a dedicated slow motion mode. So that's a big game, really.
exactly, and that's a good point to bring up, Ron, because being able to shoot that really kind of sets this. It's really kind of setting itself apart. The Avata 360 with some of these firmware updates now, and being able to do that, and it's really really kind of in a class by itself as far as that's concerned. And one of the things that I really like, now I'm not familiar at all with Insta360's editing or their app or anything like that, but from what I've seen with DJI Studio and working with it as much as I have, is it's very intuitive. If you have had any experience with Final Cut Pro or DaVinci Resolve or Adobe Premiere or anything like that, it's seamless. You really don't really notice anything. It's just an extra step in your workflow to be able to do these videos, and you have so many choices when you're in there and you're using your keyframes, Ron. It's amazing what you can do with this footage. I mean, the one footage you can get an incredible number of different videos from that.
Yeah, 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 and those possibilities of reframing. But if you don't like reframing a lot, the quick shot modes in there work without reframing. The quick shot modes, you just shoot them, it's just like a regular camera drone. The video spits out.
Exactly.
And Bill, I put a video out last week where I flew the Avata 360, and I only did one change of direction in it. So you don't necessarily have to. I flew down the beach in the smoke, the Canadian wildfire smoke. When I came back, I kind of turned it around, to look backwards at the pier. But I only did one flip. I only did one move in the 360. That's all I wanted to do.
Exactly. I mean, and that's the beautiful thing about this, Ron, is, the last 360 video I did of my house. And one of the things that I wanted to do was, instead of focusing on the house on one of the passes, I focused on the outer circle, okay? Looking outwards and not looking inwards and doing that. I didn't do anything else. I left that, I adjusted that keyframe for the whole sequence, and that's what it did. It looked outside the house. And then I did the second loop. I reversed it and I looked on the inside. And I kind of pointed a little bit of an angle, but down, just to kind of give you that perspective on what it's like around that circle on the outside of that, because it's grabbing all that footage, which is fantastic to be able to do something like this. I'm still in awe and amazed by the capabilities that you have with the 360. Okay,
and the quality stuff you talked about is definitely true. But if you're people that are creating content for, we'll say, social media platforms like TikTok and Instagram, you can't even see the downgraded quality on your phone.
Exactly here. Okay, in DJI Studio, you move a virtual camera through the footage, choosing direction, tilt, pan, and field of view after the fact. Gyro frame stabilization and a virtual gimbal let you apply smooth motion in post, including MPV style roll effects. You can construct a shot in editing rather than hoping you nailed it in the air, which is great. I mean,
yeah. And some of those effects, like the rolls and stuff, they're prefab. You can just hit a button in the editor.
Right. You hit a button and that's all you have to do. There's no real, having to do, this setting and this setting and this, boom, you hit that and it's done. It does it for you, which is absolutely fantastic. You don't need to be a video
editing guru or anything. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, the other thing is it talks about flight performance here. Sport mode tops out at around 40 miles an hour. Normal mode is more conservative. Both are self-leveling, and there's no manual or acro mode in the firmware at launch. That's a real limitation.
It's better to win than the Avata 2 does.
Right. FPV with Goggles N3 and RC Motion 3 uses head tracking in 360 mode. Your view responds to where you're looking independently of the drone's direction. It's a different experience from standard FPV, closer to being inside the scene rather than piloting a vehicle. Okay. FPV mode is also where you get the best chase shots. The natural bank through turns and fluid moments of FPV style flight gives a footage a feel that a hovering camera drone can't match. Pair that with 360 capture, and you're pulling the angles in post rather than trying to frame the shot while keeping the pace with the subject here. All right. And it continues to talk about that a little more here. Battery capacity is 38.7 watt hours, 26% larger than the Avata 2 cells. Rated flight time is 24 minutes. Real world with variable throttle and sport mode, expect around 18 minutes. The Flymore combo ships with 3 batteries and a charger that handles all 3 in about 100 minutes, okay? Internal storage is 42 gigabytes, enough for around 30 minutes of 8K without a card. Offload after every flight. Fill it mid-season with a card inserted and you're done shooting, all right? Propeller noise is noticeably lower than on other drones I've flown. No issues with birds or other animals reacting during outdoor sessions. Good to know if you're flying around livestock or wildlife. Wind performance was fine in normal outdoor conditions, and it handled a moderate breeze without any drama. Now, and then they also, very interesting take, they compared it to the Mini 4 Pro, which I thought was really interesting here, okay? The Avata 360 comes in cheaper. It talks about that with the RC2. The trade is the image quality for creative flexibility. And it's really kind of comparing apples and oranges, Ron, as far as that's concerned. It's not a real fair comparison, right? Because even the Mini 4 Pro camera, as far as that's concerned, is going to beat the Avata 360's camera.
And we all know that going in. You're like doing a test that we all know the answer to.
Yeah. So he probably needed some additional thing in the additional couple of paragraphs in the article, and he put this together. But I'm kind of lost on this. Now, Drone XL's take: who should buy the Avata 360? All right, the Avata 360 gets a lot right. Prop guards, dual shooting modes, flexible controller options, and DJI's tracking and transmission infrastructure give it clear practical advantages. Okay, the trade-offs are real. 455 grams, it's above the 255 gram threshold, which in most markets, which makes registration and additional operational requirements. There's no manual mode at launch, and 360 footage won't match a dedicated camera drone for fine detail or low light capability. It's not for everyone. If image quality is a priority, Mini 4 Pro or Air Series drone is the better pick. If you're just getting into drones and you want something simple and affordable, the Neo 2 is a great entry point. Easy to fly, set and forget, and well below the Avata 360 in price. A Mini on sale covers similar ground. The Avata 360 sits above those. It's for pilots who want creative flexibilities a standard camera drone can't offer. The ability to capture every angle, reframe it in post, cover action spots without thinking about framing, and getting FPV-style chase shots all in the same session. And it lists the cost here as far as the Flymore combo is concerned and everything too. Ron, this was the reason I really kind of like this, and I wanted to spend some time on this tonight, was the author of the article really kind of honed in on exactly who the Avata 360 is for, okay? Because it's not for everybody, all right? Right. We know Johnny, it wasn't right. Johnny didn't care for it, and I know Johnny, you're in the chat, and that's absolutely fine, And Bill,
we've done our best to warn people for months before it came out that if you don't think you're going to want to edit, reframe video, whatever. Don't order this drone think it's going to be another drone. You have to want to reframe most of your video.
And Ron, that's the one thing that I really I don't want to say I like, but it's so easy to do that. There's no confusion about it. I mean, it's just so incredibly clear on how to do this.
I don't know if it's a case of being easy or not, Bill. It's a case of if people have their ways of editing. People have their things, the style they like to edit, and they don't like to deviate off that style of editing.
Well, and when I say easy, for me, I've had a ton of experience. I started out on a basic Adobe years ago. Then I graduated to DaVinci Resolve, and it's just been really, seamless for me and just no questions asked. And then coming in and looking at studio. And what really helped me out, there were two sets of videos and two people that did videos that really helped me out. Jevin Dovey, he did one initially, which I really liked and got me started. And then Sean from Air Photography did one, which I thought was exceptional. Even though he used the iPad to do it, it still translated very easily to your desktop in terms of what you would need to do as far as your keyframing is concerned. And it really ended up becoming something because, if you're a content creator like we are, working with, DaVinci Resolve or Final Cut Pro or Adobe Premiere, it's second nature. It's something that you do all the time to get your videos ready for the week, whatever you're going to do. And DJI Studio is an extension of that, so to speak. And it's not, once you understand it, it becomes intuitive. And once you work with it week in and week out, it's very easy to use. You don't have to reference these videos anymore because it becomes very intuitive, and it's kind of like that rote memory that they had as far as that's concerned. So all in all, my thoughts as far as the Avata 360 is concerned, all right, it really was summed up by the author of the article. If you're looking for a videography, cinematography, image taking, look at the Mini 5 Pro. Look at the Air 3S. Look at the Mini 4 Pro, okay? If you're looking for a drone that's going to kind of like push the boundaries and allow you a lot of creative flexibility and be able to capture some shots that you can only imagine, get the Avata 360, and that's what it's done. And I say this with no reservation. Flying it is a joy, and it's as easy to fly as the Mini 5 Pro, as the Air 3S, as the Mavic 4 Pro. There's no question, Ron.
Yeah, it flies just like any other DJI drone. Hey, Bill, you touched on something a little bit there. You talked about manual mode or whatever for it. Now, the drone's been out almost 4 months now. This is the end of July, you might as well say. It came out at the beginning of April. And people have been clamoring for manual mode even before the drone came out. So at this late date, 4 months in, you think the ship sailed on manual mode for this drone? You think DJI is still working on it somewhere in a lab?
That, we knew that they had manual mode for the beta testers, okay? And they were concerned about the gimbal, okay? And because of being, fragile as far as that's concerned. I'm thinking they're going to go ahead and add it, and the only reason I'm thinking that is what they just did with this gimbal lock, okay? That if they can institute that, then I think they can probably work on getting manual mode in here. But I think one of the things that they need to do is that, people need to be aware and assume some responsibility that with this manual mode, you could end up needing to replace your lenses. You could end up in a situation where it crashes as far as that's concerned. Because there's nothing, you can't put a guard in front of it or even on the sides of it because it's going to pick it up. So you're really kind of, you're exposed to the world as far as that's concerned. So I think there's a possibility that they're doing it. I think maybe this locking the gimbal software update may be a precursor to that. I don't know for sure as far as that's concerned. But, I defer to what DJI is going to do. I don't really know. I'm not reading the tea leaves here. But what I'm seeing is with this gimbal lock, it may be a precursor to it.
Make a lot of people happy. I guess they'd sell some more used, but you make a good point about the durability of this drone. Maybe DJI saved themselves a lot of headaches by people not going crazy over drones that need to be repaired. They can't get them repaired in the U.S. anyways.
Yeah. So it's for me, I'm enjoying it. I'm having a lot of fun with it. It really provides some experiences that I haven't had before, okay? Don't get me wrong, and I think Ron would agree with me. My Mavic 4 Pro, it's exceptional, okay? I'm not going to get any better images or video on any of my drones than from a Mavic 4 Pro. The Air 3S, every bit as good, incredible flying, the flight times are great on it, handles and does everything that I want it to do. The Mini 5 Pro, it's exceptional what it does in a compact form. It handles wind very well. I can't say enough about it. And the Neo 2 has been a very pleasant surprise. I've had a lot of fun with it. It's fun to fly. You just got to be aware of the wind when you're flying it outside.
They'll pop up JAA doctor. That's the doctor we met at the meetup. Doctor, the anesthesiologist we met at the
right.
Anyhow, did you see his comment? He said, "Good evening. Bill and Ron, I've owned both anti-gravity A1 and the Avata 360. He says the anti-gravity is significantly easier to fly than the Avata 360. So that's interesting, Bill.
That is very interesting.
I mean,
You know,
of course, the only way you can fly the anti-gravity is with a motion controller. So maybe, it's a more natural way of flying the motion controller. It's almost like a video game type of thing. So that's probably why it's easier than the Avata 360. If he's flying the Avata 360 with the RC2 controller, but the Avata 360, of course, can be flown with a similar motion controller and goggles as the anti-gravity can. I mean, the big difference, Bill, is the Avata 360 is much more versatile in ways you can fly it. And that's the big con to anti-gravity for many people is there's only one way to fly it. You have to fly it with that motion controller. He's saying he flies both with the motion controllers. So
that's very interesting. And thank you, Joseph, for posting that. I think that's
comments on that because we know a few people that have both drones. Sticker Pot and what's Phil's child's name?
Yeah.
They both of them have both drones, and I don't think either one's declared a winner yet or whatever. I think they both like both.
I know Phil has said he's pretty equal on both drones, from what I've seen him post as far as that's concerned. And I'm still what I'm waiting for on all this is for anti-gravity to come out and say they're going to come out with a regular controller for it. Because I think
every day that passes, they don't do that. I believe they lose sales.
I think you're right, Ron, because you made a real good point. Because we're coming up towards the end of July right now, and as we're coming towards the end of July, August is going to be around. And how many more good months do we have, or do especially up?
Bill, you have a lot of months yet, but people live up north, even people up north of me, the clock's ticking away on summer.
Exactly. DD Fellows. Thank you, RJ.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for posting that. Now, I'm really hoping that anti-gravity, if you're out there and you're listening to us, is to go ahead and get that controller out to us, because I think a lot more people are, number one, they're going to buy the drone, and number two, I'm very anxious for that to happen, Ron, because if that does, and it's a reasonable price, that's something that I would go ahead and get. And it would make.
But I have to buy the goggles. That should lower the price by like $500.
Exactly, because those goggles are the most expensive part of that drone right now.
More than a drone, yeah. And if you and I could get in the room with their anti-gravity engineers and tell them, listen, you guys, you have to lock yourself in a room until you get this thing designed. This has to come out now, not Christmas, not 2027. This needs to come out now.
Yeah. And we don't mean by now. We don't mean November 1st. Okay, we mean like maybe August 1st.
We don't need the first day it snows in the Northeast.
Exactly. Okay. We don't want to see this in October or November. We'd like to see it August 1st. Would be real nice to give us a chance to get out there and enjoy it.
Some money. You only have one drone, so it's not like you're making money with your other drones.
Exactly. So. Any closing thoughts for tonight, Ron?
No, except that we found a couple great deals from DJI and both the Mini 5 Pro and the Mic 3. Bill, that's the thing. It's being sold on Amazon, but do you think that has FCC approval?
That's a good question.
The Mini 5, you're free and clear on that. It's been approved. Sure, they can revoke anything down the road, but even if they revoke the Mini 5's approval, that would only be the Mini 5 Pros that haven't been sold yet, not the ones that are already in service, right, Bill?
Right. It would just be going forward. It wouldn't be retroactive.
And the Mic 3, again, I don't know about its approval, but again, when have you ever heard of anybody being stopped by when have you ever heard of a mic check? That really hasn't happened. Yeah.
That really hasn't happened. So, but I mean, there's some good deals out there, as Ron said. We touched on a couple of them. The Mini 5 Pro and the Mic 3 are out there and available. And then, we kind of did some focus on the Avata 360 tonight. And I wanted to after
probably the drone of the year so far in my book.
I would agree, Ron. I would definitely agree as far as that would be concerned. And anti-gravity is probably right there along with it as far
Well,
as
it actually came out at the end of last year. So
that's true. That's very true. So if, for a drone that completely came out this year, yeah, it would be the anti-gravity 360 as far as that's concerned. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tonight. I wanted to spend some time to do that because I know there's been a lot of people joining the group. There's been a lot of interest in it, and I'm really glad that we spent some time talking about it tonight. And, as far as some of these articles are concerned, I did post one about the FCC, and please make sure that you guys read that. I didn't want to spend any time on it tonight because I wanted to keep a more of a positive and an upbeat tone to tonight's episode as far as that's concerned. So I hope we accomplish that as far as that's concerned. As always, guys, it's a great day to fly. Take care. Have a great rest of your week.